Tony Hawk, welcome to Sportsvibe TV.
Thank you.
And you know what, the very fact that you're here in Abu Dhabi at the Laureus Sport Awards tells you everything you need to know about just how far a sport would, let's be honest, not that long ago was frowned upon, people turned their noses up. Now look at you.
It's unbelievable. I mean, you know, I'd say it's a dream come true, although I would have never dreamt of this because it just didn't seem possible. Growing up as a skater and really ridiculed for it, to aspire to be the best at skating just meant that you maybe got some free equipment. That was about it.
I mean, when you say ridiculed, I mean, let's not underplay this. I mean, how bad was it?
Well, I definitely was an outcast at school because I rode a skateboard. I used to get picked on by like the jocks and sort of picked up and spun around and
the American footballers and the basketball players.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're a bit of a freak, bit of a, hey, what's this guy doing?
Yeah, they thought it was, well, for one, you know, skating was popular for a bit and then it sort of died in popularity, so they thought you were beating a dead horse, like just there's no future in it, why bother doing it? Or they thought it was more of a toy, like a kid's thing, and I was too old for that, and also just the fact that you even considered doing it as a profession was a joke. I
mean, it's ironic, isn't it, Tony? Because I mean, here you are now. You are, without a doubt, it's partly because of what you've achieved. It's the games, it's the video games. But you're as famous as anybody I can think of. This is the same guy who was ridiculed by his mates at school.
Yeah, and I don't really look back. Like I don't think it's some sort of revenge for me, or I feel like I have to get back at anyone. You know, I'm just happy that I still get to do it. Honestly, like the fact that I still get to ride my skateboard, that is the crux of what I do, is unbelievable. And to be able to travel the world and promote skating in that light is just something I never thought was possible.
Well, maybe you could talk very briefly about the evolution of skateboarding, because it is now. It's like a global epidemic. Everybody does it. As you say, it's completely accepted. It's come a long way, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's come a very long way. It's especially in terms of having a career. You know, kids actually want to be professional skateboarders. They want to have that fame or fortune that it brings, and we never thought in those terms. You know, we did it because we loved it. We didn't think that it was ever going to amount to anything in terms of a career. But
you never woke up and said, "Hey, if I work hard at this one day, I'm going to have a lot of money and be famous." It
never.
Just wasn't in the picture, was it?
It wasn't in the picture, no. And now it is, and now it's strange because that can be a motivation for kids, but at the same time, at least they're interested in it, yeah, and they appreciate it.
You've got to keep the love, though, haven't you? You've got to do it for what's inside you.
Well, yeah, and that's really, you see a lot of people, they fall off as soon as they get a taste of success, because that's what they were aiming for, yeah. And they lose their motivation, and the ones that really shine are the ones that keep challenging themselves, no matter how they fare compared to everyone else.
Now we've got to thank your father, and we've got to thank your elder brother. Is that right? Because he bought you the board to start it all off.
Well, he gave me his old board. He didn't exactly buy one for me, but
that's asking too much.
Yeah. But he gave me his old board, and I just started doing it in my neighborhood with my friends, and then eventually found myself at the skate park. And once I saw what was possible there, that's when I knew I really wanted to do that.
Yeah, and that's when you sort of fell in love with the whole notion of being a skateboarder?
Yeah, I just saw these guys, literally flying out of empty swimming pools, and I said, I want to do that. I want to do that.
This is in San Diego?
Yeah.
Fantastic. And then at 14 you turned professional, which astonishes me, that.
You know,
how could you turn pro at 14?
Well, basically, you have an entry form to a competition, and instead of checking the amateur box, you check the professional box.
Okay.
That's all it took. No one was paying me.
Okay, that's as professional as it got.
Yeah. I mean, I had reached the top of the amateur ranks, so it was only natural that I was going to turn pro. But otherwise, I would be sort of, you know, I would be doing it too easily.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to talk about, Tony, but from a competition point of view, obviously the Summer X Games for many, many years, you won gold after gold after gold. And just tell us, for this is a general audience, Tony, so just explain about the 900 and why it was such a big deal when you first pulled it off.
Well, 900 is a trick that I was trying for years and years. It's like a 2.5 spin in the air. And it just eluded me, and I had never tried something for so long and been so focused on a move and not been able to do it. And at the '99 X Games, they had a best trick event, and basically you got 20 minutes to do your best thing. You could try it over and over, but it was whatever's the best move that happened. And at the time, my best move was a trick called the Varial 720, which is basically a double spin in the air while turning your board an extra 180 in. And I did that about halfway through the event. And that was it. That was, as far as I was concerned, that was my best trick. And so I thought I'd just start trying 900s, because why not? I mean, you know, give the crowd, show them that I get close to it. And as I started spinning it, something clicked, and I finally figured out that I could shift my weight, and I could spin faster, and I started throwing it down on the wall, and it was coming together, and it just worked. I mean, I ran out of time. The actual time frame for the competition was over, but they let me go, and I made it.
And you did it, and you're the first person to have done it.
Yeah.
I mean, that in skateboarding parlance was sort of, I don't know, like the first 4-minute mile or something.
In a lot of ways, yeah, because there was a handful of people that were trying it, and no one could figure it out, and there has never been a trick like that in skateboarding.
Yeah. Now, we're talking about when you were a kid, and who would have thought you'd be here now, and it's just unbelievable. Here's the other unbelievable thing about what you've done is are the games.
Yeah.
Video games. I mean, started in '99, I believe. And I mean,
Yep.
there's no way you sat down and thought, hey, if I work hard at this, one day there'll be video games after me.
No,
and I mean, it's probably fair to say they've been quite successful, Tony.
Yeah, absolutely. They changed my life. When I had the opportunity to work on a game, I actually had a few different people that were asking about helping do skating games at the time, and I went with Activision because I felt like they were on the right path already without me. And so with my expertise in skating and also my passion for video games, it was a perfect mix. And still, you know, I'm still working just as closely with the developers doing the next game. It's so much fun because the technology is unbelievable now.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's ironic because certainly in the last 5, 6, 7 years, I mean, you know, my kids know you through the games. And I have to say, actually, he was a pretty good skateboarder as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's, that is a strange phenomenon with the games that people like. I mean, there are parents who thought that my name was just a game.
Right, you don't actually exist.
Or that it was a character in the game, but not a real person.
Right. Well, talking about characters, you know you've made it when you appear on The Simpsons as yourself.
As yourself, yeah. If you made it on The Simpsons and someone else is doing your voice, that's not such a good sign.
But you appeared, your voice, your character. Were you pleased with your performance and how you came over?
Yeah, I loved it. When I got the call, I was floored. I couldn't believe it, you know. And then the fact that the episode is sort of centered around me and my relationship with Bart, that was even better. And I still to this day, it's one of the biggest honors.
For those who haven't seen that episode, what was the gist of the story?
Bart is emancipated from his parents and moves into an apartment, and I live on the top floor of the apartment, and I have this full party house with skate ramps and bands playing all the time, and Bart ends up sort of seeing me as a father figure to him.
Okay, how do you feel about that? Do you sort of like the idea of Bart being your you mentoring Bart?
He could use some guidance, sure.
Yeah. But he went back in the end, did he?
He did go back, yeah, with my encouragement.
Okay, did you get to meet Homer?
Yeah, I did. Yes.
Okay. And do you think he'd frown upon skateboarding, wouldn't he, Homer?
Well, Bart's been doing it his whole life, so I guess he just has to accept it.
Yeah, fair enough. But you're probably still more famous than Bart when it comes to skateboarding. Now, you're probably aware of this. Do you know there's a British comedian?
Yeah.
Called Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawks.
Tony Hawks, yeah. And the number of times he's been asked about you.
Yeah, I've actually met him.
Have you?
I was on a morning show in London, and they had him on the same time so that he could basically have it out with me.
Right.
And he was reading some letters that he gets addressed to me through him, and I don't think he's very happy about it.
I think he gets more letters about you than you get about him.
But it's good to know that there's another successful Tony Hawk out there.
Yeah, and we're hearing that possibly it's going to be an Olympic sport. Now that really is recognition.
Yeah, I think so. All the momentum is there for it to be, you know, including the IOC's interest in it, and so I can see it happening even maybe in Rio.
Yeah, and finally, Tony, before you go, here we are in Abu Dhabi. I mean, you're mingling with Boris Becker and Nadia Comaneci and Edwin Moses and an absolute, the gods of sport are here, and you are very much one of them. So that's an incredible journey, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I mean, every day I can't believe that I still get to do this and the opportunities that arise. I don't take any of it for granted. I appreciate all of it.